All right, on to section 1.2 and 1.3, which is all about solving equations. So we're going to do a lot with this year, guys. So the real thing we need to ask ourselves is, what is the ultimate goal of solving an equation? Really, what's the goal here? Because so many times we'll look at this and we just know the answer because we're so used to plugging numbers in, okay, and thinking, okay, well, what's my answer? But our real goal is to solve for the unknown or solve for the variable. And so to do that, we basically do PEMDAS, right, the order of operations backwards. So we're going to go ahead and do a few of these together, and then I'm going to have you do some tonight for your homework. So big things to know. I always like to draw these little railroad tracks in here, but I can see if I subtract 2, because the inverse of adding 2 is subtracting 2, what you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. So those 2's cancel, and 27 minus 2 will give me 25. You have 25 is equal to 5a. Opposite of multiplying is dividing, so I know I need to divide both sides by 5. So a is equal to 5. I can go ahead and plug 5 back into my equation. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 plus 2 is 27. Yes, that math is correct. Here, we see some parentheses. Remember, that means we need to distribute first. So 4 times j minus 3 becomes 4j minus 12 when we distribute. I always like to draw these little arrows in so I remember what I'm multiplying. And that's going to be equal to 2j plus 9. All right, all my variables to one side. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2j here from this side over here. 4j minus 2j will give me 2j. So I have 2j minus 12 is equal to 9. Add 12 both sides. You get 2j is equal to 21. Divide both sides by 2. You end up getting j is equal to 21 over 2, or 10 and 1/2. All right, here, I'm going to have you do number 3 tonight for homework. All right, so we're going to try that. Number 4 and 5. Some of you might notice they are the same thing. Yes. I'm going to introduce you to something called the clearing fractions down here on number, well, technically that's 5, but we're going to go ahead and try this without clearing first. So if I'm going to solve this without clearing, all right, we know I need to add 2 to both sides, right? Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. We're going to subtract 3 on both sides. So if I subtract 3 here, right, I can bring down my 2/3 m minus 5 is equal to 5/6 m. Now, some of you might be doing it the other way, saying, hey, I'm going to add 2 to both sides instead. Okay, go ahead and do that. We should get the same answer. All right, so now I'm going to subtract 2/3 m. All right, when I subtract 2/3 m, you're going to remember, right, that we can't subtract 5/6 minus 2/3 because they don't have the same denominator. If I switch this, this would become 4/6, right? So when I subtract 5 from 4, you get 1/6 m is equal to -5. I need to multiply by the reciprocal here, so I'm just left with m, and multiply by the reciprocal over here, so we get 6 times -5, which will give you -30, which is equivalent to m. All right. Again, if you did it the other way by adding 2 to both sides and subtracting 5/6, you should get the same answer, just a few different steps. Okay. So number 4, this is huge. I'm going to introduce you to something called clearing fractions. Now, when we look at this problem, we're going to see that, yeah, it's not that pretty because we have some pretty ugly fractions in there. The first thing you want to do when you're clearing fractions is ask yourself, okay, well, what is a common denominator I can use to clear these? Looking at this, I see a 3 and a 6. Well, a common denominator between those is going to be 6. So you're going to use the mega parentheses around everything and put a 6 out front, okay? Now, what you need to remember is the 6 is technically being multiplied by every term inside of the parentheses. So I draw my arrows in just so I remember, okay? 6 times 2/3. Well, 6 times 2 is 12. So I get 12 over 3 minus 6 times 2, 12, is equal to 6 times 5 is 30 over 6, plus 6 times 3 is 18. What did I just do? Well, look, now I'm clearing my fractions. 12/3 can simplify down to 4m, okay, minus 12 is equivalent to, well, what is 30 divided by 6? That's 5. Sorry, I forgot my m plus 18. Okay, from here you can solve, subtract your 4m on both sides. You get 1m, I can subtract 18, you get negative 30 equals 1m. All right, so understanding this will be huge for you guys. Yes, these two up here are the exact same problem. Yes, we got the same answer, just in one, we cleared it by multiplying by a common denominator. All right, let's look down below here. Number 6, I would like for you to do number 6 on your own tonight for homework. And I'm going to go ahead and take this eraser real quick, and we're going to look at number 5. All right, so when we look at number 5, this is called a proportion. Back in my day, when I was at the middle school, they taught us to solve proportions through the butterfly method. And so what I mean by that is if this is a butterfly, we have one wing here, right, and one wing here. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply both of your wings. So I have 3 down here times 3 plus r. Well, with the distributive property, that would give me 9 plus 3r. And that's going to be equivalent to 4 times 4 minus 2r. Okay, when I do that, we're going to go ahead and get 16 minus 8r. We can go ahead and solve this like we typically would. Subtract 3r both sides. We get negative 11r. Okay, here I'm going to subtract 16. Subtract 16. You get, let's see, is it 7, negative 7? Okay, divide both sides by negative 11. You get r is equivalent to 7/11. All right, go ahead and skip number 7. We're going to go over that one in class together tomorrow. And let's go ahead and scroll down. So, word problems. Gotta love them. Mrs. Weber has a plant that was 4 inches tall, so I'm going to underline that, when she purchased it, and it grows 1 5/10 inches per month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this down. Well, she bought it, it was 4 inches tall, and it grows 1.5 inches per month. I'm going to use m as my variable. Miss Demich bought the same plant, but it was only 2.5 inches tall when she got it, all right, and it's growing 2 inches per month, again, plus 2m. When will the plants be the same height? All right, well, let's solve. So if I subtract 2.5 here, subtract 2.5 here, we know 4 minus 2.5 will be 1.5. Subtract 0.5m here. Need to do the same here. So I get 1.5 is equivalent to 0.5m. Divide both sides by 0.5. I get m is equivalent to 3. What does that mean? In 3 months, the plants will be the same height. I'm going to have you go ahead and try number 2. Okay, go ahead and pause the screen in a minute, try it, and then I'm going to go walk you through this problem. Comcast. I'm sure you've heard your parents talking about Comcast lately. Charges $195 a month. Sorry, live. Let's reread. Comcast charges $195 is a one-time setup fee to get Wi-Fi going in your house, and then it's $60 per month after that. Pretty good deal. All right. Well, AT&T charges $250 a month. Lied. Ms. Swiderski needs to read. AT&T charges $215 as a one-time setup fee to install Wi-Fi in the house, and then it's an additional $50 per month. After that, how many months would it not matter which company is your internet provider? Okay, well, go ahead and solve. Subtract 50m. Put my variables on one side, so we get 10m. I'm going to subtract 195 from both sides. Let's see, I get 20 is equal to 10m. Divide by 10. M is equal to 2. In 2 months, it'll be the same. Okay, so again, your main idea here, guys, is to get your variables on the same side. Yes, there are 2 ways to solve it. If you decided to, let's see, subtract 60m on both sides, that's fine. You're just going to end up with some negatives, and we know in the end, when you divide a negative by a negative, you'll get a positive. All right, so that is our notes today, 1.2 and 1.3.